Hello and a very warm welcome to all of you in what could be a huge blow for Team India. Jasprit Bumrah is all but ruled out of the T20 World Cup in Australia next month. That is right. This is a big breaking news now that we are getting from BCCI sources that Jasprit Bumrah, who missed the first T20I versus South Africa after he complained of back pain, is now, it seems, ruled out of the T20 World Cup. He's been sent back to NCA in Bengaluru, where he's going to start his rehabilitation. We're also being told that the injury is a stress fracture that he's got in his back. Now, back injury is a recurring injury for him. He was out, in fact, since February. And in fact, that was the last time he played a T20 international. He did play the IPL, but after that, he was recuperating from this back injury, which seems to have resurfaced again. And now, after bowling in the nets and bowling in those two matches, since coming back, Jasprit Bumrah is in all likelihood out of the T20 World Cup. And it's a huge blow for this Indian team, given that some of the other bowlers have been struggling. Your pacers have been leaking runs in the death overs, though the last match that India played against South Africa last night, the conditions were favorable for swing bowling, and there was enough bounce, and Arshdeep Singh and Deepak Chahar, they did well. So that was good news for the Indian team, but nobody can replace a bowler like Jasprit Bumrah. How good has he been for this Indian team? And a lot depended on his comeback. And I think even the way India played in the Asia Cup, I think all Indian fans were waiting for Jasprit Bumrah to come back. When he came back and bowled in the two matches after injury, he was expensive. Against Australia, he went for a lot of runs. And, there was also these few moments in the match, the two matches, where you saw him nail those Yorkers that we're used to seeing him do, the way he got Aaron Finch out. So everybody was hoping that he would come back, and this was the series where he'd find his rhythm before the T20 World Cup. So it's a huge, huge blow. Bad news for the Indian team, who are the likely replacement in Mohammad Shami or Deepak Chahar. We'll get to talk about all of that with Ashok Malhotra, former Indian cricketer, former selector, who joins us here. And this is something he's been saying, I think, since his return, since the Asia Cup, in fact, since we've been talking, Ashok sir, you've just been saying you're really hoping that Jasprit Bumrah is fit, and the worst has happened in terms of, Indian bowling attack. He's in all likelihood out of the T20 World Cup. It's a huge blow for this Indian team.
Definitely so, Meha, because we were so dependent on Jasprit Bumrah. We are struggling in our bowling. There's no two ways about it. Bhuvneshwar Kumar is leaking too many runs. Harshal Patel is leaking too many runs. Even Arshdeep is a new entrant in international cricket. We don't know what Deepak Chahar, in case he's the pick, is going to do. So these are, then the fifth bowler is Hardik Pandya. So Bumrah not being there, I've been asking this question again and again: who's going to bowl the last 4 overs? Because if Arshdeep bowls, who is going to bowl the other 2 overs? It was always Bumrah. But now with Bumrah not being there, is it going to be Harshal Patel? Is it going to be Bhuvneshwar Kumar? Or is it going to be Deepak Chahar, who all love to bowl initially? So that this is going to be a huge blow. If I may say, India was struggling in bowling department, but now I think, if I may say, it is the last nail in the coffin of Indian bowling.
Okay, now this is what the BCCI had said in a statement yesterday when he didn't feature in the playing 11, and they said that he complained of having back pain, and this was during practice. And then he was, obviously, the team, BCCI team management assessed him before the first T20 international, and he was ruled out of that match because of the pain in his back. But now stress fracture, sir. For a player, player of the status of Jasprit Bumrah just before the World Cup, stress fracture. Tell us, can he even think of coming back? Is that even a possibility? How bad can stress fractures be? How do you assess this? I know you're not a doc, but you've played long enough. You've seen players go through injuries.
But Meha, stress fracture means he's out. That's for sure. There's no two ways about it. I don't think he's going to play the next IPL if he genuinely have the stress fracture. And I think the way he was having back problem. See, one, his action is such he does not run in. He just walks and then last 5 yards he runs in. So it must be taking its toll on his body, his back. We have been calling him a genius, and he is a genius. He's a freak, if I may say. Because when you talk about fast bowling, it is a long run up. You load and you run in, you generate pace, and then load and then unload. But this guy used to walk in 10 yards and run in 5 yards, and it must be putting a lot of pressure on his back. And when he talked about back injury, and the moment they said after not playing him yesterday that he's complained of the back injury, back pain, I knew that there and then that something is amiss. So I didn't have any hope that he'll come back. But with the stress fracture, Meha, first time we ever heard about stress fracture was Imran Khan was had the stress fracture and took him a year and a half to come back. Stress fracture is such, Meha, the moment he lands, it flares up more. It flares up more, the cracks are this, fracture is one fracture. The stress fracture is multiple fractures. The moment he lands on the ground, the fracture flares up more. So that is where the problem is. Stress fracture is one of the worst injuries anybody can have. And for Bumrah to have this, I think it's bad news for team. Definitely a big bad news for Team India, bad news for Jasprit Bumrah, because he's up till now one of the fittest guys, and we all were wondering why he's not getting unfit with that kind of action he has and the kind of pace he was generating. What is a captain taking? And everybody is hoping that maybe he's a freak, he has a kind of body which he will not get injured, because he does not have normally the guys who don't get injured, Meha, is who have a great bowling action. Bumrah does not have a great bowling action. He's the one who bowls he's a freak, let's put it this way. I will not go further into it. But this injury, I think, will put a lot of load on him, put a lot of load on the Indian team management and on BCCI too. Because without him, we are almost out on a limb.
So staying with this injury, sir, he had this injury even before. He was in fact recuperating from this injury. That's why he didn't play some of the series before. He was coming back after a break. He'd done his rehab at NCA. Can you explain to us what goes into that rehab and how different is it because I mean, obviously the doctors gave him a clean sheet and you cannot foresee an injury. I understand that. But having said that, I'm sure they were also clear in, the fact that he was fit enough to go and bowl. Was he rushed into it? Is that something that could be an issue? Because there was a T20 World Cup, did they think that maybe, just maybe, that injury will not come back, and now it seems to have taken a wrong turn?
See, the guys who are in a rehabilitation center in NCA, they are not, they're good, but they are not dogs. And they must be also under tremendous pressure to get him fit. Because he's out of the game for 3 months, 4 months, and he was recuperating in NCA. But as you very rightly said, probably they rushed him because the pressure was mounting. Once he was declared fit by them, he was declared fit for bowling in the nets. He was not declared fit in match condition. He didn't play a game. He just bowled in the nets. And in the nets, you bowl within yourself. You don't go flat out. In the matches, when the pressure is mounting, you go flat out. That is what is undoing. The moment you go flat out, something, if it is not healed properly, then it gives way. So that is exactly what has happened. But before that, whenever his Bumrah got injured or the back injury, they never talked about stress fracture. Now, first time we are hearing stress fracture. It was always, he's got a step back, something like that, but never a stress fracture. First time the stress fracture is coming out. And stress fracture, if he's got stress fracture, then Bumrah will take a long time coming back.
Now, there are also reports, I'm being told, that of course scan reports are awaited, because what seems to have happened is that he complained of back pain, and the team doc who was at the venue must have checked him and said, you know what, you need to go, because if it's hurting you that badly, you need to go back to NCA, which is what he did. So he flew out of Thiruvananthapuram, and he went to Bengaluru, where there were some scans that were done on him, and reports are awaited. But I think preliminary reports suggest that it is a stress fracture, and of course the detailed reports will come in some time. I think they've also sent some of those reports to his doctors abroad. That's all that I could get from my sources. But now there is also this talk, sir, that there could be a surgery that is required at this point, at some point, in fact, as they get the scans. Now, if he undergoes a surgery, then that's again a lot of time in regaining full fitness. Can India do without Jasprit Bumrah for that long?
We'll have to learn to live with it. Like we learned to live with without Hardik Pandya. We'll have to learn to live without Bumrah, at least for a while. Because without scanning, they can't say a stress fracture. There has to be a scan, and I'm sure they must be sure about it. They are qualified physios, trainers, doctors, and they must have taken a hospital's report. So that is the point. So they all know that he is more or less out of the World Cup, surely. He might be out of the. It is not Indian team which is having jitters. It is the Mumbai Indians who are struggling, because he is their main bowler too. So it's another IPL is just around the corner. So definitely, we can say bye-bye to Bumrah, at least for 6-7 months. Definitely, and not only that, Meha, when he comes back, will he be the same? We'll have to wait and watch, because that injury is such you get very, very tentative. Then you don't go flat out quick. You need a lot of game time to come back. So it is not good news. It's a very, very, very bad news for Team India and Bumrah. And as you very rightly said, we will be struggling. I don't know who is going to bowl in the power play. We don't know who is going to bowl in the slog overs, who is going to bowl in the middle overs. He was our go-to man, basically. Yeah. So because Bhuvneshwar is a shadow of himself. So and then Arshdeep and Deepak Char are new to the, and even Harshal Patel, they are very new to the international cricket. We don't know how they're going to perform. They bowl well in IPL, but how well they're going to perform on World Cup, a big event. How well they're going to perform? Can they take the pressure? Can they take the role of Jasprit Bumrah? And not to forget, they are not as quick as Jasprit Bumrah. Jasprit Bumrah was very quick in the air, and he could bowl slower balls. He could bowl Yorkers, what he showed against Finch and Steve Smith. So I don't think anybody can bowl the kind of Yorkers he was bowling. And not to forget nasty short of length delivery. So he was a plus man. I'm not writing his obituary, but the fact is, definitely we're going to miss him in a big way, but surely and definitely he's out.
And it couldn't have come at a worse time. Not only is this 1 month before the World Cup, but this is at a time when you need him more than ever, because the Indian bowling is struggling. This is what we've seen in Asia Cup. Who's going to bowl that 19th over now that Jasprit Bumrah is not going to be playing the World Cup, sir?
Absolutely. It's a very, very big team India. Believe you me. As I said, we are literally on one level. We don't know how well Hardik will bowl. See, Bhuvneshwar, we don't know. We don't know about Harshal Patel. We don't know about Deepak Char, who only played a game. He bowled well, but he can only bowl in the power play. What about bowling the slog? So these are a few things which need to be answered. These are questions which must have sent shock waves through the Indian dressing room. Believe you me, with Bumrah, and this is what we on our show we have been saying. We pray and hope that he remains fit till the World Cup, and that it didn't happen. It was not to be, and then we have to learn to. But the problem is there are only 2 games left before the World Cup, so there's not enough time for us to get another guy, try another guy, and we are not ready to try because it's very, very adamant. Now is the time to have Umran Malik or Muhsin Khan and hope that they come good. You have to look around now, or have Shami back. He's recovered from COVID, so let him come and have a go. Let's see what he does. He's at least a seasoned player and a very experienced bowler. So it's time for Shami to get back into.
So it looks like, because they were in the standby, they were the reserve players, which is the Deepak Chahar and Mohammad Shami. I think after yesterday's performance, a lot of Indian fans would be happy that Deepak Chahar is drafted into the main squad. Of course, extremely unhappy and disappointed that Jasprit Bumrah is out of the T20 World Cup. But Deepak Chahar, sir, I know, again, he's also coming back from an injury. In Zimbabwe, I think played 1 ODI. Since then, has played 2 T20 internationals. And of course, yesterday was 2 for 24, masterclass in the art of swing with him and Arshdeep Singh. And then there is Mohammad Shami, who played well for Gujarat Titans in the IPL this year, but last played a T20 international in 2021. So you're looking at 2 players, one coming off injury, just like Jasprit Bumrah, and the other one who hasn't really been bowling, who hasn't in fact bowled in T20 internationals, T20s rather, since the IPL. How do you see this?
It is very sad state. It is basically because of the stubbornness of the team management of team. Because you could have tried. You knew this could have happened to you. You could have tried. Even Shami, if he comes back, Neha, he's also not played, as you said, for 2 years, in international cricket. And then he's also coming back from being affected by COVID. So he's also not matching. So you're going to the World Cup with people, Deepak Chahar, who's now coming back from injury, Harshal Patel, who's coming back from injury, Shami, who's coming back from injury, even Hardik Pandya, who's going to come back from injury. So I really don't know. We are walking wounded as far as our bowling department is concerned. So that is not a good sign for us. Because we know when the stick starts flying, the best of bowlers goes for very well. So that is what is going to happen. What we saw what happened in Asia Cup, the way Sri Lanka's mauled us, the way Pakistani's mauled us. And now there you're going to have Australia, you're going to have South Africa, you're going to have England, who are another phenomenal side, and New Zealand, you can't count them out. And not to forget the Afghanistan, then West Indies, if they come good. Yeah. So you got a whole lot of players. And if your bowling is so thin, you're not sure of whether you're going to play Ashwin, you're going to play Yajuvendra Chahar. Akshar Patel is the only certainty in the side. So even the bowling department, you don't know. Because Deepak Chahar looks a younger version of Bhuvneshwar. I would prefer Deepak Chahar ahead of Bhuvneshwar. At least he will not be carrying any burdens. So this guy will be bowling better because he has won matches with his batting, bowling for India whenever he's played. So I think Deepak Chahar is a man-to-man replacement. And it might not be a bad idea. I still insist. Have Shami in the side. Have maybe Umran Malik in the side, and hope that things fall in place.
The other thing now is that I know the one narrative that is that people will sort of build up now with Jasprit Bumrah being out of the T20 World Cup is how much of this is IPL's impact. I know that a lot of people will just shrug it off saying, come on, IPL gives them the financial benefits that each cricketer wants. But having said that, IPL also adds to their workload. In this case, what do you have to say to people who probably will be asking this question? Has IPL played a role in Jasprit Bumrah being ruled out of the T20 World Cup?
Yes, sir, definitely. Have you heard of any cricketer saying I'm not fit during IPL? Even if he's unfit, he'll carry on playing. Or the franchisee will put him to play because they paid money for him. You're a contracted player. It is up to the franchisee how they treat you. So definitely. And then it's a game day in, day out, you're playing games all the time for 2 months, non-stop games you're playing. It takes its toll on you. And if Bumrah had this injury, I'm sure he must have some niggle, but we carried on because he was not in best of form in the last IPL. So he might be carrying some injury. You never know. But he carried on, whether at the insistence of the franchisee or Bumrah didn't want to miss it. I would not know because there is the question of big moolah, big money.
Yeah.
So I would not know. And you very rightly said, IPL definitely gives you the security of money, but it definitely takes its toll on your body. And it happens. It happens. But I have never seen any cricket in the IPL, even if it's unfit, who says, I need a break, I don't want to play. So these are a few things which, at the end of the day, these T20 leagues, all of which has, really come up all over the world, is going to take its toll on the cricket.
The other thing is also, sir, you spoke about his action, that how the kind of action that Jasprit Bumrah has, that takes a toll on his body. When he keeps doing that again and again, that is what that is what causes these injuries, and these injuries are more, what would you say, more rampant in players who have these different bowling actions. Now, my thing is that Jasprit Bumrah is not getting any younger, but you still need him in the team. What can be done? Because there will come a point where, they'll say that maybe he needs to adjust his action so that it does not put that kind of load on his body. Is that something now he should look at? But then when he changes his action, what if he's not the Jasprit Bumrah that he is right now?
See, he's a freak, Meha. There's no two ways about it. I've never seen a bowler who walks 10 yards and runs 5 yards and bowls at that pace. And with those lethal Yorkers and short pitches. And he was a fierce bowler in World Cup. He was a terror in World Cup. So, as you very rightly said, if he changes his action, then he might not be the same Jasprit. It's a natural Jasprit. The guy who is a freak, who has grown up, because we have never seen anything, the phenomena like Jasprit Bumrah before. So he's one of its own kind. So if he changes, I don't know how and why he'll change, and for his back injury, I don't know who's going to do that for him. And as you very rightly said, if he changes his action, will he be the same bowler? Will he have the same pace? Will he be able to bowl same kind of a lethal Yorkers? So these are few things which need to be answered. But first and foremost is, when will he get fit? When does he really get fit? When he gets fit, will he be same bowler? Because coming back from stress fracture is never ever going to be easy.
Someone's just suggesting to me on Twitter saying, can we just keep him for the 19th over of every match? Just the India matches, just take him with us for the 19th over. That's how desperate this team is at this point.
Or put a mask of Jasprit Bumrah on our fast bowler's face. That he's still there. That's all I can see. But I don't think you can do that because you want to play the fit guys. We understand, but I don't see it happening. Because I knew that something was not right when the back injury he complained about. But stress fracture, I was not hoping for.
Yeah. Looks like a obviously much weaker bowling attack without Jasprit Bumrah, sir. But the three pacers plus Hardik Pandya, who are your three pacers for the T20 World Cup then in his absence?
I'll definitely have Ashok in the side. Because he is the one who's going to bowl your 18th and 20th over. So now the question is of 17th and 19th over. But as the team management is going, it is going to be Harshal Patel. Only if he pitches the ball up, if the moment he bowls short, it goes to very, very many. So I really don't know. And the third will be a toss-up between Deepak Chahar and Bhuvneshwar. If I had my way, I'll play Deepak Chahar. He is fresh, he's raring to go, and wants to prove a point to his man.
How impressed were you by Arshdeep and Chahar in yesterday's game? I know that conditions favored fast bowling, and also how is it that in some places it swings like that and in other places it doesn't, sir? Has anyone been able to figure this out scientifically?
No, I don't think so. Anyway, even the fast bowlers don't. Sometimes they say when sun shines in England, ball moves. So sun says cover comes, it moves. So you don't really know.
Yeah.
Like in England, I know for sure when cloud covers come, balls start darting around. When the sun comes, you enjoy your batting. So these are few things there. But why it swung so much? But I will still give credit to Deepak Chahar and Arshdeep Singh, because it might be helpful, but still you need to get help. And you are bowling against one of the best batting lineup, except for Bumrah.
Yeah, and you saw the difference in the way their pacers bowled and the lengths that they were bowling at. And of course, spraying some of those deliveries around, you saw the contrast in the way those two bowled, Arshdeep and Chahar, and you compare it to Parnell, and Rabada was of course good, but yeah, not the same. And that's why they were 9 for 5.
I mean, it's shocking. It's unbelievable. Believe you me, we were at our best. 9 for 5. If you have South Africa 9 for 5, it's game set and back to India. Whichever bowling attack you might have, because wicket was going to settle down a bit. It was not going to be as lethal as it was on day one. But the fact is, credit goes to our bowlers. The way they bowl, magnificent. Be it Deepak Chahar, be it Arshdeep Singh, two young Turks who turned the tide in favor of India. And I think they were like breath of fresh air, believe you me, man. I've not seen this kind of an Indian attack quite a while.
Also, now I'm being told from my sources that right now still nothing is confirmed. So there's one section which is saying it, but they're all saying it looks bad. So we know that it looks bad. And if it's stress fracture, sir, you're saying that there is no way we'll see him play in the T20 World Cup. But I think they also want to play it safe. So from Bumrah's side, I'm being told that it looks bad, but it's not confirmed. They're still awaiting some tests. Now, if these tests are to figure out whether he'll be able to play the T20 World Cup, or if these tests are about whether he needs surgery, no clarity. But right now, they're not confirming or denying anything. But this is confirmed, sir. It's a stress fracture and it looks bad.
Anyway, he's out of World Cup. May have stress fracture or no stress fracture. He's out. Even this back injury he will not be able to carry in T20. So for me, T20 World Cup is over for Jasprit.
Is it over for India, sir?
I hope not, but I think it is. Because without bowling, see, battles score runs, Meha. It is the bowlers who win your matches. And if you got this kind of a weak bowling, then I don't see much of hope.
Who could have imagined, sir, less than a month to go for the T20 World Cup, and we're in a situation, we've been talking about this every time India won a bilateral series this year. We said that, wow, look at the depth of this Indian bowling. Players were rested, new bowlers were, they were sent for different series. Ireland, you had a different team. Zimbabwe ODIs, you had a different team. You were trying everything. And now from that pool, you are in a situation where you found 5 bowlers who are unable to bowl well in all 3 phases of a match. So right now you have a problem of plenty when it comes to power plays. You have all power play bowlers, including Deepak Chahar, Bhuvneshwar Kumar. Harshal Patel is inexperienced. At the same time, he's I think his economy is 11 plus in the death overs. Overall economy is also high. What do we find ourselves in?
See, Meha, they kept playing their favorites. They did not spread their net far. I mean, they didn't pick the guys who did well enough.
Yeah.
That is the bottom line. You could have looked at Mohsin Khan, you could looked at Umran Malik, you could looked at other somebody like Kuldeep Sen, who were quick, who was moving the ball. They could have been a good backup players. Odd game here or there. It could have been. You kept on going up with Avesh. 15 games he got. 15 non-stop games he got. And he failed to deliver. So once after 4-5 games, you understand the guy is probably not good enough for international cricket.
Yeah.
So these are few things. They were very adamant in their thinking, and that is what is happening. And with Bumrah going down, I mean, the bottom has fallen off.
Absolutely. And on top of that, now there will be question marks over whether he was really rushed in to get fit for the T20 World Cup, because you get him back, you name him in that series against Australia and South Africa, and then he doesn't play the first T20 internationals against Australia. He sits out of another one, and, you know, it seems like a botched affair. And there should be questions now asked as to whether this was handled well. But thank you so much, Ashok Malhotra, for joining us here. But this is a huge, huge blow for this Indian team. Jasprit Bumrah all but ruled out of the T20 World Cup. He has a stress fracture in his back and has traveled to the NCA for rehabilitation. There are some scans that have been done on him, and there are reports that are awaited, but it does not look good for him and for the Indian team. He is all but out of the T20 World Cup. Huge, huge blow for this Indian team. Okay, we'll get you all the latest from that developing news story. Also, you know, analysis of the next match, preview of the next match that India plays in Guwahati. News from other sports as well. News9 Sports is what you need to subscribe to for all the latest. That's it from us. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.